emerging, and we really need to have an understanding on what this technology is, and we are concentrating on the cloud security aspect of it, because as you all know, the security is the most important thing at the moment, and we all have faced the news, or at least we have come across a news on the WannaCry, and we all know that there had been availability problem with the British Airways in Heathrow, and the IT systems were not working. Though the reason that they have given to the press was something to do with the power, but we actually don't know what has caused that particular issue. Okay, now coming on to this one, the cloud. Okay, the emerging technology, and we will see why we need to concentrate on the cloud security part of it, because there's also an architect, there's also a programmer. Okay, a lot of things are there. Okay, now coming on to the technology. Now, cloud is a technology that is going to be omnipresent. When I say omnipresent, it's everywhere. Okay, the Bill Gates have coined a word saying it's anytime, anywhere, and any device is what the cloud is. Your Gmail is on a cloud, your LinkedIn is on a cloud, your Facebook is on a cloud. All we need is to have an internet available for us and a browser, and the cloud is available with us. So what are the facilities that we require on the IT is available with us. Okay. Now just imagine the years, where we have to, if at all we need to move our businesses from one location to other location. It involved what is called the data center movement. Okay, because there are a lot of people who are involved. Even I myself have been involved in a data center movement from Brussels to Stockholm, and that involved a huge activity to move the system, to back up the data, move the data separately, and move the system to get to know label the cables and label the systems to see which connections goes where. Now with the cloud, all this thing doesn't exist, because your cloud data center is going to be in some part of the world. Okay, or your part of the world. When I say some part of the world and your part of the world, there are a few things that we need to understand about the location of the data. Yeah. So the location of the data determines where the cloud is going to be because of legislation. Okay. Now, a few years ago, when we have to carry something, okay, we are leaving our country to work on site. Okay, we need to carry our laptop. But nowadays, the situation is totally different. With a desktop as a service, which is under the infrastructure as a service, all you need to do is to just carry your thin client, or don't even carry your thin client. Your data is on a cloud, which can be accessed over the internet. Just take your flight and land, and that's it. The moment you have a system with a browser, and your desktop is there for you. Okay, in Amazon Web Services, there's provided what is called as a workspace. Okay, every other company or every other cloud service provider has also got a technology like this. Now, this technology as a cloud has impacted our life, because now all we need to understand is just give it to your cloud service provider and you forget about it. He's going to manage the IT for you. Now, this is where the problem is. If I'm just a user who's accessing the application, I don't have a problem. If I'm just a Gmail user, I don't have a problem. I still have a problem. What are the surety that nobody looks into my data? But if I'm an enterprise who's going to migrate towards the cloud, we need to understand few things. Okay. So what are the few things that we need to? We'll have a glimpse over this session. Okay. Now the current trend. Okay, the cloud is still an immature platform as far as the security is concerned. Okay. Now we need to understand why should we streamline this. Okay. Now the upcoming trends, a few certifications that we're going to have a look into. These certification has made an impact in the society. Okay, so they have made an impact in the world. So if you are certified in one of the certifications that I'm going to discuss with you, that means that globally you are recognized as a cloud security expert. Now coming on to what a cloud is. Okay, now cloud is nothing but a huge platform of hardware resources, terabytes of terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of hard disk space. Okay, so we all know megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, and there are a few smart people who all know much more than that. For me, thousands and thousands and thousands of terabytes is what my hard disk chunk is. Okay, now this huge capacity has been procured by the cloud service provider to provide the services for all his customers. Now the customer will not have an access to the complete hardware chunk, but he will be allocated a portion of it. Like that, there are a lot of customers available for a cloud service provider, and this customers available for a cloud service provider is called as a tenant. So the cloud is going to offer what is called as a multi-tenancy for me. That means one hardware is shared by multiple people. It is like one home is shared by multiple people. There are so many tenants. Obviously, each and every tenant should secure their data. Okay, you cannot say that the house owner should secure my data because he is giving me a house. House owner will provide you security to the extent possible. He can ensure that your home is secure. Okay, he will engage a watchman. He will engage a security person. He will have a CCTV camera in the campus. So what are the things that is applicable for him is what he will do. But inside your home and to your belongings, you should be responsible for it. Similarly, whenever it comes to cloud security, the cloud service provider will take care of the security aspect only to the extent possible. He doesn't know what your data is. He knows that you are a healthcare organization, but he doesn't know what is the protected health information. He knows that you are a bank, but he doesn't know what is the cardholder data. That he knows there is a cardholder data, but he doesn't know which file has the cardholder data. Okay, and you might be any other organization, and you would have had you would have a data classification. So your cloud service provider does not know which is the highly classified data. Okay, so unless or otherwise you have a data classification policy, you know which is highly classified data, and you are going to secure yourself. The cloud will automatically not give you what is called as security. I had done an implementation of cloud security in a lot of places, ISO 27001, and the organization works on a cloud, and they tell me, oh, I'm already with Amazon Web Services, or I'm already with Microsoft Azure, or I'm already with Google, I'm already with somebody else, okay, who is certified for ISO 27001. They are certified for ISO 27001 and not the customer. So the customer or the tenant will not inherit the complaint. There's a common misunderstanding. Okay, will not inherit the complaints. Okay. Now, the cloud is a common platform. It's going to be a common platform for many of the users, and you can access from any part of the world. That's why I told you, anytime, anywhere, any device. No internet, no cloud, as simple as that. But that's not the case with your normal scenario. You can go to the office and you can access, you have a laptop. Even in your office, no laptop, no work. Okay, there's a risk everywhere. Okay, now there's something called the payment based on the usage. It's otherwise called as a metered service or the measured service. Initially, okay, so people speak about the cloud computing, they speak about CapEx and the OpEx. There's no CapEx, or there's a minimum CapEx, capital expenditure, that is involved in a cloud. But gradually, okay, you'll be charged for your operational cost. There are a lot of authors, including David Linthicum, who has proved with the statistics that cloud computing initially will be cost effective. But going forward, your normal infrastructure, your traditional infrastructure, okay, will become cost effective. But to start a company, your cloud is going to be an indispensable partner. Now, apart from this multi-tenancy and the metered service, there are also three more characteristics on a cloud. Okay, one is called as a rapid elasticity. You can expand and you can contract at a will. Okay, the other one is a broad network access is what you are supposed to provide me. And there's something called the on-demand. Okay, on-demand access. Okay, so whenever you require a server for your usage, and cloud is available for you. Now there is a security concern here. Now, if I need to deploy a physical server onto my environment, I need to follow a service request, or I need to have an approved change record. Okay, because I need to go to the, there's a cost center approval, then I have to go to the procurement team, there's a blah, blah, blah. All these processes are there. But if I'm a cloud administrator and I have a credential to create a cloud, okay, I can do it on a fly. Okay, now what is the control that I'm going to have in deploying my resources in cloud? It's pretty easy, unless otherwise you're going to ensure that the cloud administrators' credentials are locked. Okay, and you will not be releasing it unless otherwise there is an incident to resolve, or a change to implement, or a service request to cater for. No, not all the time. Yeah. Now, when I had my infrastructure within myself, I'm a local LAN. Okay, so I don't have to worry about the visibility of my application. But moment I went on to the internet, okay, I'm not even saying over the cloud. Moment I went on to the internet, I had my own web server, and I had my own WAF, I had my own DDoS protection, I had my own intrusion detection and prevention systems. Okay, But moment I went on to the cloud, in most of the situations, my cloud infrastructure is not with me. It is with somebody else. I had my own web application server. I had my own web application. I had my own DMZ. I had my own DDoS protector, IDPS device, WAF, everything I had. Okay, when the infrastructure was managed by me. Moment I am going to go to a cloud, okay, Amazon Web Services, my infrastructure is not going to be with me. I am losing a control. Okay, I'm not saying that you'll be losing your data, but you're losing your control. If you are going to look out from the compliance perspective, ISO 27001 has what? And provision to assess the physical security of the infrastructure. People who are in GRC, they will know this physical security. Moment my hardware is not with me, that control is lost. I cannot say it is not applicable because I still own the data that is on the cloud. I am accountable for the data loss, but the responsibility to maintain the data is with the cloud service provider. Okay, so this is something that we should understand the RACI perspective. So responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. Accountability and the responsibility will be with the customer in the traditional infrastructure. Moment the customer is going to migrate on a cloud, okay, the accountability of the physical security is going to be with the customer, but the responsibility is with the cloud service provider. Now, how will I know whether the cloud service provider is going to be compliant with the standard? I have to request him for the audit report, and that request and the response should be contractually signed. Otherwise, the cloud service provider will say, I never told you that I'll be sharing the audit reports with you, and why are you asking me? You are lost. Once the contract is signed, okay, you cannot renew or you cannot modify the contract without a penalty. Sometimes you have to wait for 3 years or 5 years to ensure that you are going to add that clause to you. Usually the big cloud service provider will be extremely cautious. Okay, they will ensure that your data is secure and there is no availability problem at all. But sometimes you may have it. Okay, moment I move my infrastructure onto a cloud, okay, especially if the cloud is going to be an external cloud, the visibility is going to be immense. Unless or otherwise, I have a proper mechanism to secure my infrastructure. Gmail, unless or otherwise, you as an organization and or as a country, okay, you're going to stop the access to the Gmail. It doesn't work that way. You know, it's accessible for everybody in the world. Yeah. Now, coming on to the next one, vulnerability stack. Irrespective of whether it's going to be a cloud or it's a non-cloud and a traditional infrastructure, the vulnerability stack is going to remain the same. Network. When I say a network, it is going to occupy the 6 layers of my infrastructure. Layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5, layer 6, layer 6. Okay, so I'm going to have a physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation, and finally comes application. Every single layer has got the vulnerability. Yeah, even for the cloud, it remains the same. Until the packet leaves your infrastructure, the security is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. Yeah. So when in the physical security, I can still snip the data. In the data link, there's an ARP spoofing. In the network layer, there are a lot of attacks that can happen. In the transport layer, there could be a DDoS attack. In session layer, there could be a session hijacking. In the presentation layer, somebody can do a tampering. I can do a right click, inspect element. I can change the pricing of a commodity when I'm trying to buy something online. Coming on to the application layer, immense Open Web Application Security Project has given top 10 vulnerabilities. In fact, they are changing it depending upon the trend in the world. Okay, maybe once a year, or once in 3 years, or once in 5 years, but still, it is still very top 10 vulnerabilities and SANS top 25. This is what that we are going to do. We are going to look into whenever we are going to host an application on the cloud, and which is going to be accessed to everybody across the world. Okay, OWASP, vulnerabilities of the database. What is the attack surface? For a user to access the database, he need to have an interface. But for administrator, he can still log onto the server and do an command line execution, right? Coming on to the web server, the vulnerabilities of the web server. How can you find the vulnerability of web server? If somebody has undergone an CS training, okay, it's pretty easy. Do an SS scan, do an Napster scan, do an openware scan, Nextpost scan. Any scan will identify the vulnerability on the operating system and also on the application, web application or web server. Okay, you can try with an Z attack proxy from OWASP. That's a free one. Okay. Third-party web applications and custom web application. Whenever you say web application, it will be prone to a top 10 vulnerability, okay, of OWASP. You have to ensure that that is not there. All we should remember is we are hosting an application on the cloud. Moment somebody accesses that, moment they click on my website and web page and they are there, they are already on my DMZ. So one firewall is already circumvented. So we're going to have the port 80 and 443 open on my firewall. They can access my web application. And first firewall is what they have crossed and they have come here. Okay, coming on to the next slide. Threats in the cloud computing. These are the things that we should ensure that we take care of. Okay, first one, there is the Cloud Security Alliance, which is an organization that has come up with a certification called CCSK, Certified Cloud Security Knowledge. Okay, it's called the Notorious 9, data breaches, SQL injection attacks. Okay, so there's an excellent tool in Linux Kali called SQL Map. I can use the tool to identify a website that is prone for the SQL injection. How will I identify a website which is prone to the SQL injection? I have what is called the Google Docs in URL : item underscore ID is equal to question mark. I put in the Google, it gives me a lot of website. I choose a website and after the numeric, I place in single quotes. It is going to dump, if it's going to dump me the error with what database it is, that site is prone for the SQL injection. Do an SQL map and SQL injection attack onto your web application and pull the data out. There's a data security breach, data loss. You have already migrated to the cloud, okay, and end of the contract, and you're not able to access your link. Okay, now what is the surety that the cloud service provider has deleted your data? He might have disabled only the link, right? And you put that link and it says that the link is not valid and you assume that your services are not in the CSP anymore. But what is the surety that your cloud service provider has deleted the data and he is not going to have a copy of the data with himself? Okay. Next is account hijacking. Okay, what I will do, in Linux Kali there is a command called the history track. With the history track, I can replicate the user interface for a cloud application hardly in 2 or 3 minutes. And I will host a similar application on a cloud and I will send a phishing email saying click here. Okay, and he puts the username and the password and I get the username and the password. This is called the keylogger. Yes. Yes, Jineha. Can you yeah, Jineha, please.
Hello.
Yeah, Jineha.
Yes, you just speak track, right?
Yes.
Like track means like session track or all that?
Threat is, I'm sorry, what's your question? Threat is?
Track, T-R-A-C-K, track.
T-R-A-C-K. No, I said threats.
Track. Threats.
Yeah, threats. T-H-E-T-H-R-E-A-T, threat.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You don't have to be sorry. That means that I have not sounded properly to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so coming on to this again. So what I can do is I can replicate a website with HT track. I think that's what Janae has. A HT track is a tool on Linux Kali using which I can replicate. It need not be HT track. You can have any website replicator. Okay, and you can replicate a website, and I can send a phishing email with a different link, and I will say click here. We click there, and then we put the username and the password, and that's it. My account is hijacked. Okay, insecure APIs, Amazon Web Services, and Google Azure, everybody gives an API. In fact, there's a plugin for Eclipse. Okay, now what we need to understand is the security is the responsibility of the developer. Okay, so this APIs will not by default give you any of the security measures. Next is denial of service, DOS attacks, and one more DOS attack is DDoS. Okay, distribute denial of service. Now, what do we mean by a DOS? Okay, DOS is going to impact the availability of the security. So there are three tenets of information security. So one is the confidentiality, the other one is the integrity, and the third one is the availability. DOS attack ensures the availability is not there. How can I do a DOS attack? A continuous ping. Okay, continuous ping is a DOS attack. Okay, if the continuous ping is done with multiple sources, it is called as a distributed denial of service attack. So how will I ensure my environment is secure for DDoS attacks or a DOS attack? I will have a DDoS protector from Akamai or Cloudflare or whatever it is. Next is a malicious insider. When we say malicious insider, that means there's an employee who is within the organization, okay, who is going to understand, who would have just underwent an CEH training, and he wants to try his skills. Okay, so what he will do is he will first try to attack the cloud platform from inside. Why inside? Externally, it might not be possible to access the cloud infrastructure. I will tell you why at the later stage. Okay, so malicious insider is somebody who is already there, okay, within the organization. See, there were times when, unfortunately, whenever somebody undergoes an ethical hacking training, the first ever system in which he will do a port scan is the Office system. Okay, I'm not saying the intentions are bad, but slowly it might become, the moment he's going to learn about Metasploit, HPing 3, okay, he may do an distributed denial of service attack within the organization, from within the organization. That is still possible. Yeah, abuse of cloud services. Now, if I'm going to have a Visa card or a MasterCard, okay, so what's going to happen is I can enroll myself on Amazon Web Services account. I can host a free email service. I will collect the complete information about, and I'll send an email publicizing my services, and everybody will register, giving their personal information. And I have collected as much as information as possible to launch some other attack. This is called as an abuse of cloud services. Cloud service is given to you, but I am abusing it. Okay, insufficient due diligence. So what do you mean by due diligence? Is to do an analysis to see whether we are secure or not. ISO 27001, okay, as in complaints, or PCI DSS as the complaints, or HIPAA as a complaints. For PCI DSS and the HIPAA, the mother is ISO 27001. Moment you are going to look into the ISO 27001 from the cloud perspective, we should understand, okay, so what is there in the cloud and what is not there in the cloud. See, the cloud, moment I migrate onto a cloud, I will not say that my physical security has been given to the cloud service provider. No. If it's going to be the internal cloud, the physical security is my responsibility. That means I'll still have a data center, and the cloud hardware is going to be in my premises, yeah, and it'll be my responsibility and the accountability to ensure the physical security is being taken care of. So we need to understand whether I'm a cloud consumer or I'm a cloud service provider. And there's one more layer called orchestration layer. Okay, we'll discuss about that. Okay, so insufficient due diligence. Perform the compliance check from the beginning to the end. Okay, now whenever I'm trying to access a cloud as an enterprise, there's an incident. Incident could be within the enterprise, or incident could be with the internet service provider. If both these parties are okay, then we can think about the cloud. The moment we migrate onto a cloud, if there is an incident, we shouldn't be thinking that, yes, we have migrated onto the cloud and so far we had been pretty okay, but now there is a problem. Absolutely no. We need to understand where the incident is. Similarly, at every single party, we need to do what is called the due diligence. So we know that security is not just the CIA, but data is going to be at rest, data is going to be in transit, and data is going to be in use. Data at rest and data in transit security. See, data in transit security is accountability and the responsibility of the customer. Okay, but the internet service provider will ensure only the availability part of it. Encryption and the integrity, confidentiality and integrity is the customer's responsibility, and availability is with the internet service provider. Data at rest security, if it's going to be for the endpoints, okay, which is going to be for the client, It is the responsibility and the accountability of the cloud customer. But if it's going to be on the server, then the responsibility and accountability is with the customer, and the responsibility of ensuring the compliance is going to be with the cloud service provider. He will ensure that he is not going to break to the encryption algorithm to recover the key and then look into the data. The last one, the shared technology vulnerability. The hypervisor on the cloud. Okay, hypervisor is something that the cloud has adopted from the virtualization. So hypervisor on the cloud is a shared platform where there could be a vulnerability. If the hypervisor is vulnerable, that means that complete communication that is happening between the cloud instances could be eavesdropped. Okay, this is called the hyperjacking or a subvert. These are the attacks that has been demonstrated on the Black Hat forum, but we have not come across an incident where somebody has attacked an enterprise with this. Okay, you have any questions to ask me? Yeah. Just raise your hand, I'll get to know it, so I can stop and then I can address you. Yeah. Thank you. Now coming on to the shared responsibility. Okay, we know that there are three different service models in a cloud. First is called as an Gaurav, I think you have muted yourself. Okay, I'm not able to unmute you.
Yeah,
Gaurav.
actually, I wanted to ask, like, how the threats in the cloud security are different from the threats in, own local network.
Ideally,
These threats are the same threats we can have in our own network, own local network, own data center.
100% yes. Okay. Now the cloud application is a web application. As only you know that it is a cloud application, the hacker will not even know that it's a cloud application. Okay. Now what actually happens is there's a website. Okay, the hacker has done an information gathering and reconnaissance technique, and he has cornered or he has selected a particular organization which he wants to hack. So there's a multiple methodologies by which he can hack, and the technology vulnerabilities are very simple. Okay, and they're all very mature. For example, doing a port scan, which everybody will know. So most of the network security administrators will ensure that the ports are not visible outside. All the controls is what they're going to have. Now coming on to the application development, okay, so when you look at the application vulnerability, okay, the SQL injection attacks or the OWASP top 10 is what the hacker will also try to exploit. In which way? Okay, so he will try to do a SQL injection, or he will try to do a Vega scan or a Zap scan or a Napster scan to find the vulnerability that he can penetrate. So he will do a WA and he will try to penetrate that. Okay, so penetration is for the good guys, but he will try to hack it. Okay, until he hacks and get the, see, sometimes even after he hacks and get the data, he doesn't even know that he's on a cloud. Okay, now there are attacks, I told you, like you can go to the level of the hypervisor, okay, but nobody has attacked and platform to such an extent. It has demonstrated in the Black Hat forum with the researchers, but who also had a chance to catch hold of the hypervisor, and they demonstrated saying that the communication between the various instances of cloud is happening to the hypervisor. If the hypervisor is vulnerable, then the hacker can compromise it. But that is to hack into an hypervisor, you need to have an access to the data center. Otherwise, it's not possible. So, what has been demonstrated is yes, but what is the feasibility of the hack actually happening on the live world is totally different. So, to answer your question directly, if you're going to host a web application in your infrastructure and somebody is going to hack it, there's no difference between an hacker hacking it on the cloud infrastructure. There's a hacker hacking it on the web infrastructure, cloud infrastructure. It's same.
Okay, so we consider both of them. The security threats are same for local as well as the cloud one.
It's absolutely. In fact, answer to take this thing to an extent further. See, in the normal infrastructure, there's an there's a purposefully vulnerable system that is called as a honeypot, right? So the honeypot is a system that is purposefully vulnerable so that the hacker will be inside it too for us to learn about the tactics. Now same thing is implemented on a cloud and we call that as a honey net. What do you mean by honey net is a separate hypervisor that is purposefully with all the purposefully vulnerable instances of the operating system that is running. So the hacker will compromise one system purposefully. Okay, I am hosting a web page and I'm making it very public. The hacker will compromise that system, and he will try to find out what are the systems that are connected to it. Maybe he will do an ARP command to see which are the other systems as the part of the ARP table, and he will try to get onto the other system. Okay, with some techniques. Okay, so there are a lot of techniques that are available with the EtherCap and K-enable. You can find out. You can make your system a gateway. You set the password, and all these things are possible. And if he's on a honey net, okay, so he can traverse between the multiple systems, and he will think that he is going to be no, he is on the network, but he's not on the network. He's on the honey net. So except for the vulnerability with the hypervisor, anything that is above it, okay, the instance, the application, the vulnerability is same for the traditional infrastructure and the cloud infrastructure. Now, if you look at this particular slide that I am sharing, the shared responsibility on the infrastructure as a service, okay, until the virtualization is the cloud service provider's responsibility. Now, if you look at the operating system, the security template or the template for the operating system as an enterprise I have, or as a normal consumer, if I'm going to have an, let's say, an Amazon for the AMI, Amazon machine image is what I'm going to have. If there is a vulnerability with the operating system image, that will be carried over. So if I'm going to do an scan on Nessus or an OpenVAS, okay, on the remote infrastructure which has got a public IP, and the vulnerability on the operating system is very much visible for me, I can still use it, right? So as a hacker, I don't even know what is going to be on a cloud and what is not on a cloud.
Can we consider like the security threats in cloud are more than the security threats in our own network? Because most of the sites or most of the Google, if you Google it now, something is written over there. The cloud is in terms of everything is good. The only thing is the security concern because it is available as a public network to everybody.
No. See, ideally, not necessarily that every cloud instance is available on the public network. I can have my own internal cloud. Okay, so IBM has got an internal cloud. Accenture has got an internal cloud. They'll have their own internal cloud, and only the internal staffs will be accessing it, or the customers will be accessing it. Okay, the customer. If only the customers are accessing it, we call that as a community cloud, and only the staffs are accessing it, we call that as a private cloud. Okay. Now, not necessarily that all the cloud instances are public, but even if that is going to be the case, there are a lot of methodologies by which I can ensure that my cloud environment is as safe like a traditional environment. Okay, now going forward, we have got a slide on what is called the Jericho's Cloud Cube. Okay, we'll be discussing about the Jericho's Cloud Cube. That will give you a different perspective of what the cloud is. Moment I am onto a cloud-based infrastructure, I can tell the cloud service provider, access to this instance will be allowed only if the source IP is my NATed IP address. In that case, I can still have my cloud instance on an external cloud, but the access to that particular instance is possible only if the source IP is going to be from a NATed IP. So anybody else in the world, okay, will not be there, will not be in a position to access the cloud instance at all. Okay. So it's on the implementation or the deployment, the security is going to differ for me.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you very much for asking. Any questions from anybody before we move further? Yeah, Venkatesh.
Hi, this is Venkatesh from Toyota. Actually, I was going through your presentation, and once you said if anything is hosted on the cloud, and if you're transferring the data from the customer premises to the cloud, data in transit is the responsibility of the customer.
Correct.
Okay, so what, like when we say we have a cloud provider like Amazon, so what precautions or like how this data needs to be transferred to the cloud? Because as far as my understanding, the cloud provider is only going to provide us a URL where we can host our instances. So,
No.
whether the cloud provider can provide us any kind of a secure connectivity where when we transfer a data to the cloud, it will be in an encrypted format, or is it the responsibility of the customer to ensure that it reaches the cloud in an encrypted format?
Okay. See, there are two things that we are discussing here. See, the data encryption is different. Venkatesh, I'm sorry. Can you mute now because I'm hearing my own echo?
Okay.
Mute and unmute when you have to ask question. Okay. Yeah. See, what I'm saying. There are two things that we are discussing. Okay. The channel encryption and the data encryption. Data encryption is 100% accountability and the responsibility of the customer, and the channel encryption is subjective. If the cloud service provider is going to give you an a secure mode of transferring the data, I'm okay. But if you're going to if he's not going to give it to you, okay, then it will be our responsibility. Why I'm saying this? Data loss is an impact to the customer, not for the cloud service provider. Say let's say I'm a big organization and I'm providing a services for multiple customer, and I've got 25-30 customers, and I'm hosting the application on the cloud. Okay. Now the 25-30 customer data is securing the data is my accountability, not the cloud service provider. If there's a data loss, and the cloud service provider can very well say, yeah, I'm sorry, okay, but the impact is going to be for me. We suing the CSP and all is different. First thing is we have to be in the business, right? If the cloud service provider is going to give you a channel for the communication, see whether it's going to be an HTTPS or FTPS or whatever it is. Look at the digital certificate. If it's going to be an secure data in transit security, okay, and look at the digital certificate to see whether that's valid. Okay, who's the certification authority? To that extent, we need to know that we are secure, because our data transfer. Let's assume that we are transferring the data in 128-bit key encryption. Okay, so data transcription and bigger, longer is the encryption key, slower is the performance, but tougher to recover the data. Okay, so AES 128 is what I'm using, and I'm transmitting the data, and data in transit channel is totally encrypted. Okay, so the data transfer happens, and somebody is going to recover the key, and he's trying a permutation combination method or a brute force to recover the key. Now he has recovered the key, okay, but before that, my data transfer should have been completed. So once my data transfer is completed, okay, even if he's going to recover the key, and there's no opportunity for him to use the key to decrypt the data because the transfer is done. Now what I'm saying is, even after to have a step ahead, if my database is encrypted and replicating the data, or I'm transferring the complete data, my database is encrypted, I'm transferring the complete database onto a remote system, or I'm replicating it, even if the channel is not encrypted, okay, there's no data leakage here because my data is encrypted.
Okay, got it, got it.
Okay.
So, do you have any predefined or list guidelines like which we should ensure that whenever we are dealing with any cloud providers, these are the guidelines which we need to follow so that we take care of all these prerequisites?
Okay. Now, usually, whenever we go for a data transfer based on digital certificate, the algorithm that we follow is elliptical curve. Okay, so ECC is what the algorithm that we follow, and that is supposed to be one of the best, because ECC as an algorithm can give us a strength of an 128-bit key length, even for a 56 or 64 key length. Okay, there's a proof for this actually. I cannot be discussing the proof here, but if they are going to do an ECC, then we are absolutely safe. So it will be faster, and you cannot even break it that easily, and the strength is also more. Okay, and as far as the integrity is concerned, they should at least be on SHA-2, because SHA-1 is already deprecated for birthday attack. SHA-2 is what you need to do is at least ensure that is there. But if you are encrypting the data to sending it across to the cloud service provider, ensure that you are on AES 128. It is actually an American standard, but everybody is good enough to follow that, and they are happy with it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Venkatesh. Now, Prashant. Yes, Prashant.
Yeah, I have this question that what is the difference between private cloud and an intranet?
Internet need not be on a cloud. Okay, and private cloud need not be an intranet. Okay, you can even host an application, and you can still use it. The only okay, now the cloud physically can no the cloud physically can be on Amazon Web Services, but only your organization is accessing it. That means it's a private cloud.
No, but then in case of intranet also, which is hosted inside my organization, only my guys will access that.
No, now let me ask you something. How do you classify the intranet? So it's a web-based application that is accessed only within the organization is what you classify as an intranet, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now on a cloud, okay, let me take an example of Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services has got what is called the database as a service. Okay, so RDS is actually an database that is on Amazon Web Services. I can use the database on Amazon Web Services and I can design my application, but the internet is not possible, right? The internet is just a web page.
You have some data servers normally in every organization. They have some data servers which is accessible by application server.
But that is not on the internet. You are saying the database is available on your local network, right?
No, within the organization, yes.
See, intranet need not have a database. Okay.
Okay.
See, internet is just a web-based application. There are pages that you can access it. Okay. So, the moment you are going to have a database application within the local LAN, you don't call that as an intranet. It is a web-based application for you. Now, having said that, the advantages that you're going to have hosting something on a cloud is available only with the cloud services, the scalability, the elasticity, okay, the multi-tenancy, okay, the huge platform that you're going to have. Okay, so if you actually look into the infrastructure and traditional environment, where you have separate systems for everything, but the private cloud need not have it. It's one single hardware that you're going to deploy for all the purposes. In internet, if I'm going to have an web server, and the hardware, I feel that I don't need it after some time. Okay, then I have to just decommission that. But in the cloud, if I feel that internet is not required, okay, I can still use the same hardware for something else. I can release the space. No, see, it's a big topic. Okay, now it's in the 1 hour we cannot be discussing very detailedly about all that. So obviously the internet is not a cloud.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant. Yeah, Jalpa. Jalpa, you have muted yourself. Jalpasha, okay, then we will proceed. Yeah. This is what I said as in Jericho's. There's one more question from. Prashant, you have one more question?
No, I don't have.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so coming on to this particular slide, it's called the Jericho's Cloud Cube, and this is what I had been discussing. Now, we will be looking at the cloud from this particular perspective, internal and external. If the cloud hardware is going to be within your network, we call that as an internal cloud. And if it's going to be with a cloud service provider, we call that as an external cloud. For external cloud, the physical security is the accountability of the customer and the responsibility of the cloud service provider. Okay, but for the internal cloud, the physical security is the responsibility and the accountability of the customer. Okay, so we need to maintain it as a data center. So Go Green is not applicable for the internal cloud, but for the external cloud is applicable. Next is on proprietary or the open. The software that we are going to use for the cloud, is it an Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure or Google? It's proprietary if you want to use OpenStack. That's an open source. Okay, now what is an advantage of using an open source? Open source has got something as open cloud computing interface or open virtualization format, where the portability and interoperability is standardized, but proprietary it's not standardized. When I'm moving a cloud infrastructure from an Amazon Web Services to a Microsoft Azure, it will be like a nightmare, boss. Okay, both are proprietary software. But if I'm going to move it from OpenStack to Amazon or OpenStack to Microsoft and OpenStack to Google, it's going to be seamless because they all follow an open standard. Okay, so this is totally covered as and what is called the interoperability and portability is in module 7 of your CCSK. So in depth is what we are going to discuss there. Now coming on to this deperimeterized and the perimeterized, if the traffic goes through my firewall as an organization, it's called as a perimeterized. If the traffic goes through the cloud service provider's firewall, it's called the deperimeterized. Assume that I'm going to have an instance of instance on Amazon Web Services, EC2 instance. When I have an EC2 instance as an individual, I cannot say that the traffic will go through my firewall. It's a public. So traffic is a public cloud. The traffic will go through the cloud service provider's firewall, who in this case Amazon Web Services. Okay, so if as an enterprise, whenever I'm going to host or migrate to AWS, I'll tell AWS that these are the instances. They should be, they should be the internal IP or external IP, whatever it is, and I will tell them that these are the set of IP addresses who can access these instances. If I'm going to give them that, it's deperimeterized, but still it's under my control. What all things I did locally when the systems are hosted on my infrastructure, same thing I can do with deperimeterized environment also. Next is outsourced or insourced. If the people who are managing the cloud are my employees, it's called the insourced. If the people who are managing the cloud is an employee of an CSP, it's called outsourced. Now, if my own staff is dealing with the supporting the cloud, I don't have much of the problem. Okay, I trust them. But if I'm going to outsource it, there's a problem, the trustworthiness. I'm not saying that the cloud service provider will look into my data, but there's a possibility. This is also flagged as one of the threats in the cloud. Malicious insider is what exactly this is. Now, coming on to the cloud security jobs, hottest things in the market, network world. This is a link. Has said 33% as responders said the cloud security is going to be the hottest job next. 33% is not a small value, boss. The remaining people have said about developers, architects, and then complaints leaders or managers, blah blah blah. But the first one is 33%. That's for the cloud security experts. If you want to access this link, and you can have a look into this. And 18 million jobs worldwide is what Computer World is actually promoting, or they are forecasting. Okay, going forward. So they said last year, but going forward it's going to be ever increasing demand because people are moving towards the cloud. India also has got a lot of cloud service providers now. Okay, now 124,000. Okay, not let's say 124300. I don't know how to say this. Okay, and USD is exactly what the average salary for a cloud security professional is. It's around some, let's say, 10,000 and few more dollars, okay, every month, which is not a simple salary, but it's a very good salary. Now, if you know cloud, if you know cloud security, and if you want to have certain skill sets with you and certificates with you, obviously the sky is your limit for making the money. Now, this from a different site called PayScale, and they say on average, okay, and fresher will get around $60,000, okay, per year as a salary for the cloud security, and it goes up to the value I told you, okay, so around $10,000 plus a month if you are a cloud security professional. Now, what are the certifications that you have got to prove to the world that you have got a cloud security professional? There are three things. One is the certified cloud computing security. No, it's called CCSK. Okay, it's from Cloud Security Alliance. Okay, so who are the first person to introduce and certification of the cloud security? Now, Cloud Security Alliance, CSA and ISC Square. ISC Square is a very popular certification body in the world, and they have a beautiful certification called CISSP. So they have joined together with CSA and they have come up with a certification called Certified Cloud Security Professionals, or CCSP. Okay, so CCSK and CCSP both are 100% theory. Now the last one, which has not gained in popularity, but which is a beautiful certificate, you have to clear 5 papers to become a CCP security, is from a company called cloudschool.com. Okay, cloudschool.com is a website. Okay, so it's ideally, 4 papers are theory and 1 paper is a practical demonstration for you to prove yourself that you are extremely skilled on cloud security. Okay, at the moment, the CCP security, though being one of the best certification, it has not hit the market tremendously. But CCSP is slowly emerging because they know that CSA has joined, or they have an association with IC Square in promoting the cloud security. Okay, so these 3 are available for you, and you can in the presentation you'll have the support on the contact. You can get in touch with them and see whichever is captivating to you, and you can ask them, and they'll be more than happy to guide you on how you can go ahead and attend this. Well, let me stop here, and I'm giving you an opportunity to ask me any further question on regarding certification or the cloud security before we call it a day. Yes, Sachin.
Yeah, hi. So I have one question related with the certification. So if once we get a certification, so that will be valid till the lifetime, or we need to, continuously upgrade ourselves to maintain the certification?
Well, see, all the certification bodies are into business. Nobody gives us a certification which is valid for more than 3 years. Every certification that I have got is also valid for 3 years. Why? Because after 3 years, they want you to take up the examination again, so they can charge you some money. And that's what the ground reality is. Okay, so all the certifications are valid only for 3 years. See, because after 3 years, the technology may change. There will be new additions towards it, and there are a lot of changes in the market. So just to ensure that we are also in line with that, so the certifications are also valid only for 3 years.
Okay. So after the 3 years, so we need to give the certification entirely from the fresh, or we can just give the exam for the updates that we got into newer technologies.
Now, unfortunately, it's not like this ISO where you can give an update and you can become a lead auditor for 2013 version, 15 version. No, it's not. You have to take up the examination fresh.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Sachin. Yeah, Ratna Kumar.
Yeah, hi. I just want to know what are the prerequisites for these things, because I am working with Google Cloud.
Okay.
So will this be? I mean, is this certification going to help me going further? I mean, you have mentioned almost 3 different kinds of certifications, right? What is the best to start with? Because I am not into the security field, so just want to know what would be the best to start with.
And for you, I would recommend CCSP because though I said CCP security, the CCP security, the practical is not with the Google Cloud, unfortunately. So what I would say is you can learn the CCSP, okay, and then once you are certified, you can apply the same knowledge onto Google Cloud. So
Okay.
that way,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm currently working on Google Cloud, but I used to be on AWS. So
Ratnam, see, whatever it is, okay. Now,
huh?
the CCP security is with their own proprietary cloud for the examination, okay. So
Okay.
conceptually, everything will look okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
but because you have already worked on AWS and the Google, okay, if you do CCSP, which is just a theory, you can apply that on your environment.
Yes. So it
Okay, so
is
that's what my intention was. Yeah, tell me, please. Sorry, yeah.
nothing. I just wanted to know the prerequisites. That's it. I mean, before going to the course, what should I be equipped with? So I just
Now, some
raised it.
fundamental knowledge on information security is required. See, people who have cleared the CCSK and CCSP, okay, they are 90% of the people who underwent this training, they are CISSP certified. Okay, I'm not saying that you should also become CISSP certified, but some fundamental knowledge about information security is what you need to have.
Okay. Can you share any links regarding to that? I mean, can you share a few links which we can go through them?
Sure, the collaborator will collaborate with you, and then we will send you some links on that.
Okay. Oh, great. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you very much, Rathakumar. Yeah. Yeah, Gaurav?
Gaurav this side. Yeah. Uh, if we talk about the AWS, like if we have hosted a website on AWS server EC2 instance,
Okay.
and we want to move from HTTP to HTTPS, that is secure way of transferring data.
Okay.
So does AWS provide the free SSL certificate, or does it charge for it? Because in case of GoDaddy, if you have a website on GoDaddy, like these kind of
Okay.
they
See, it
charge
depends upon
for.
your contract, Gaurav. See, AWS. I think they have a different levels of support that they want to do it. Okay. But from what I had seen, the certificate is something which is bundled with the package. So no, they'll be giving it to you free of cost, but just ensure that they do it. If AWS or anybody else also, just ensure that they give a certificate and look at the certification body. Go to the certification body, look at the certification body. Only if you trust them, then you can go. Otherwise, you can say that I'll use my certificate. So the choice is yours. But I'm not come across a situation where AWS is not giving a certificate for the transfer. But you just ensure that you have it in place. Let's not assume things and lose it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Gaurav. Let's move on to please. Hello.
Do we need to learn any programming language for this?
Absolutely no. All you need to know is basics of cloud and basics of information security. That's it. Now, at least for this certification, I would say you don't require to learn any programming language, but there are
Or scripting
there are separate certifications for cloud computing developers. For that, you may need to learn something, and I'm unfortunately not the right person to comment on that because my focus is only had been on security.
Okay. And one more question: how do you learn about the threats that you are talking about, and take care of those threats?
One thing is you can join my training.
Okay.
The other thing is, see, we get to learn about this because we are in industry for some time. Okay, so we know what's happening and why the things have happened. So we ensure that we are putting everything onto a single package to offer it. So it's like we are into business, right? So if I can deliver a training, and you learn everything about the cloud, and you go to your office and you excel in your job career, and we are also happy. Okay, so the thing is, you learn by being in the industry for some time. Okay, so you will get to know it by yourself. You let's say you are moving on to any other certification, and then you become a cloud security expert, and that's it. Okay, so slowly and slowly, you know where to look out, and you will start subscribing to the advisories, newsletters, and you will get to know it. So it's not a rocket science. It's not a secret. Okay, everybody will get to know it.
Okay. Please share the details. Okay.
Sure. Okay. Thank you very much, Vasilingappa. So, Ratnakumar, you have any question? Like, I see a hand. Okay. So, if everyone is okay, then we can call it a day. And the slide has got the all the information. Okay, to join this course, if at all you're interested, it has got the mobile number, it has got the website and the email. It's all yours now. Okay, and I wish you all the best. And for your career, I wish everybody to be extremely successful in your career. And if given an opportunity from the Collabra side, you'll be more than happy to train on any of the certification so that we ensure that you have a rocking career ahead on cloud security. Yeah, so there's one more question. Just give me. Yeah, Varun. Yeah, please.
Hello, sir. Actually, I just wanted to confirm, like I was not able to join this session on time. So, will you be in near future have a one more session for those who were not able to join on time?
Definitely. So the tag team will send you the next schedule, and you can join that session. I will be more than happy to interact with you then.
All right. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Varun. So, any other questions? Any further questions from anyone? Nope. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining me, and I wish you a wonderful weekend. So enjoy yourself. Cheers, then. Bye bye.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, bye.
Yeah, bye.